You are listening to Mining Stock Education, where you'll learn from the top leaders in the natural resource sector and uncover quality mining investment opportunities.
And that granite margin target is very similar to, I don't know if you're familiar with Red 5. They own the old Tarmoola mine, or King of the Hills, in Western Australia in the goldfields. It's a 6 million ounce gold mine that hosts mineralisation right on the granite margin in shear-hosted high-grade plunging chutes, and the same stockwork mineralisation in the granite. So as a geological target for gold, we really like this setting, and it's now double the length that we thought it was a year ago. So huge amount of upside.
Welcome back to Mining Stock Education. I am your host, Bill Powers, and in today's show, we're going to be getting an update from Matador Mining, one of our sponsors. Its executive chairman, Ian Murray, joins me, as does Warren Potma for the first time. He is the exploration manager. Just by way of reminder, Matador Mining is exploring on the Cape Ray Shear in Newfoundland, Canada. They are an ASX-listed company exploring in Newfoundland, the only Australian company doing so. They're also listed in the States. The States ticker is MZZMF. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Ian, I'd like to kick it over to you first. You engaged in 45,000 meters, I believe, last year of exploration through the diamond drill, as well as auger and helimag surveys. As you look back on last year, what are some of the key takeaways that you can share with us, and how has that fine-tuned your approach for this coming year?
Yeah, Bill, so the 45,000 meters, that's the 2021 and 2022 season. Last year, we did 20,000 meters of drilling. But the key breakthrough for us was firstly that aeromag that you mentioned, 30 meter space lines, the highest resolution aeromag ever done in Newfoundland. And that's given Warren over 40 strike kilometer area, very, very clear targets for further follow-up. We then follow those targets up with auger drilling, and in some areas till sampling. And we've moved targets from the aeromag to confirmed targets through the auger. And then the big standout for us was Window Glass Hill, especially on the Window Glass Hill margin, where the granite meets the sediment, where we now know that structure is 6 kilometers long, but very high grades and good widths on that granite margin. So I think that's a game changer for us. It could be a lot bigger than what the current resource is at Window Glass Hill.
Warren, in Western Australia, you explore under till all the time. So you're exploring this 3-layered approach, the helimag, the auger drilling into the fresh rock, and then diamond drilling after those first 2 layers. Can you share a little bit more of your experience exploring under till, please?
Yeah, look, not so much in Australia under till, but under thick layers of cover. So the difference between Australia and Canada is that most of the cover, at least in the gold regions in Australia, is clay, is weathered clays and transported clays. And, you know, they're difficult to explore through, but in a different way to the till. The till cover on our project at Cape Ray, we're very lucky. It's sort of 50 centimetres to look a maximum of 10 metres deep, but on average 3 or 4 metres deep. Transported cover in Australia can be tens to hundreds of metres deep. So for us, exploring through cover is something that we do regularly. It's just a matter of finding the method that gives you the most reliable results. The project prior to myself joining the company, and indeed the previous owners of the project, because there was that thin layer of till, the cheapest approach to exploring through that or within the till is surface soil sampling. The problem with that is you don't see what's going on at the basement. You have to infer what's going on at depth, and that till can be transported quite some distance. So anomalies in soils don't always sit above the source. Our approach in Australia, and it's done by some of the majors in Canada, but not a lot of the juniors, is to use these auger drills to drill through the till. We sample the till on the way, the same way that it's traditionally always done in Canada. But then at the bottom of that auger hole, we drill a small piece of diamond core, tens of centimetres long, into the fresh rock. And that tells us exactly what's going on in the fresh rock. We do multi-element geochemistry on that. We obviously look for gold there. We look at the alteration mineralogy, and we build a solid geology basement map rather than a map of what's going on in the till. And that enables us to really refine our diamond drill targets before we wheel the diamond rig out. Enables us to build a map, if you like, that shows the zonation of the mineralisation in the basement, and stops us drilling holes where there's no chance of mineralization in the basement and gets us into the mineralization much quicker with the diamond rig.
So for the last year's drilling, 2021, what are we still expecting in terms of results over the next 2 months?
So we've still got 35 holes that are working their way through the lab from last year. We've had some exceptional results both in infill in the Window Glass Hill Granite or Window Glass Hill resource last year, as well as the granite margin target that Ian spoke of. Some of our last releases for that Window Glass Hill Granite margin drilling, 2 of those holes were the highest grade width intersections ever drilled in the granite, and this is into the new target. So some of the results that are pending are from the granite margin, some are from Window Glass Hill, as well as Big Pond and some of the other more regional targets that we tested last year. There's a couple of holes outstanding. In addition to that, we're currently drilling with the winter program. So basically, at the point in time where we get the last of last year's, these last 35 results from last year out, we should start to see the results coming in from there on from the winter drilling program.
So there's going to be no lag in news flow then?
Very little, if any, lag in news flow, exactly.
So the Window Glass Hill Granite, is that your prime target for the first half of this year?
Absolutely. So, in fact, for the whole of this year, we'll dedicate one of our 2 double shifting diamond rigs full-time to the Window Glass Hill Granite. As Ian said, this granite now we know is 6 kilometres long. Up until, late last year, we were working on the assumption that the main granite was only 3 kilometres long, had a margin, if you like, about 7 kilometres of granite margin, and we thought that was our target area. But a lot of work has been done towards the end of last year, early this year, in terms of interpreting the magnetics, looking at the bottom of hole geochemistry. And we now know that there's a wedge of that granite that runs a further 3 kilometres northeast. Now, this is significant because that extension of the granite sits immediately on the northern side of our 500,000 ounce central zone deposits. Central zone is plunging chutes within the sediments, and the granite is immediately on the northern side. There's great potential for that 3 kilometre extent of the northeastern extent of the granite to be mineralised as well. And they're 2 different mineralisation styles: sheeted veins and stockworks in the granite, and shear zone hosted plunging chutes in central zone. The reason why we like the granite and its proximity to central zone is it's very similar to what we're seeing 100 kilometres northeast of us with Marathon Resources. Marathon Gold, their Valentine Lake project has granite-hosted gold that looks very similar, or that our Window Glass Hill Granite-hosted gold looks. And that granite margin target is very similar to, I don't know if you're familiar with Red 5. They own the old Tarmoola mine, or King of the Hills, in Western Australia in the goldfields. It's a 6 million ounce gold mine that hosts mineralisation right on the granite margin in shear-hosted high-grade plunging chutes, and the same stockwork mineralisation in the granite. So as a geological target for gold, we really like this setting, and it's now double the length that we thought it was a year ago. So huge amount of upside.
So for listeners that don't know, you already have a resource, a compliant resource of 840,000 ounces and a scoping study. So the model you're working with here is a string of pearls concept, right?
That's right. So like I said, 2 distinctly different mineralisation styles. Of that 840,000 ounces, 232,000 ounces are known to be hosted within the main part of the Window Glass Hill Granite. That's the Window Glass Hill resource. Part of the Central Zone resource, PW, is now known also to be hosted in the Window Glass Hill Granite. That's another 80,000 ounces. So effectively, Window Glass Hill Granite as a system hosts northwards of 300,000 ounces. And then just under 500,000 ounces in that sediment-hosted central, the rest of the string of pearls in the sediment-hosted central zone. So again, Window Glass Hill for us, we've explored, now that we know it's much larger than we first thought, I'd say less than 15% of the Window Glass Hill Granite has seen any drilling at all.
And can you talk about, you've mentioned to me since we've been featuring your company, that you don't know if you found, even though you have a resource, you don't know if you found the best. Could you talk about how you're going to balance targeting, the potential you see here in Window Glass Hill Granite, but also you got 100 kilometers of strike still untested?
Yeah, so Warren's currently in Newfoundland. He flew across on the weekend. He's there with one of our non-executive directors, Justin Osborne, and one of our geologists from Perth, Jordan Rogers. They're going to be having a series of workshops over the next 6 weeks with our geological team on the island, Crispin Pike and the rest of the team over there. And the purpose of these workshops is for them to debate exactly what we're discussing. What are the targets that we haven't tested yet? And how can we rank and prioritize them to make sure that we test the ones that have the most potential to deliver large size discoveries, but they can also be mined. It doesn't help finding a big discovery that's so far away we could never mine it. It's got to be economic. It's got to be large enough. It's got to be economic, and it's got to be mineable. And that's what they're going to be working on over the next 6 weeks to set us up for our drill season for the summer season.
And what would determine if you're going to do a resource update? I mean, is that too early to talk about now?
No, it is early, because as long as we're growing the resource, we'll continue to drill and step out and see what the size of the footprint is. But certainly for Window Glass Hill, with the work that Warren did in 2021, we now need to go in and do what's called the infill drilling, which gets it to a density which allows you to then have your first resource, your inferred resource. And that's what that one drill rig dedicated at Window Glass Hill will be doing, is doing some infill drilling and some step-out drilling. And the second rig will be the one that's chasing the more greenfields targets to make the new step change discovery for the company.
Warren, can you maybe talk a little further about what success would look like in 2022 for the company?
Yeah, absolutely. So as just following on from what Ian has said, success is a significant growth in the Window Glass Hill Granite hosted resources. So at the moment, we have the Window Glass Hill resource, which is a relatively small centre, series of stacked veins over maybe 250, 300 metres by 200 metres. This is within a 6 kilometre long granite, as we said, that hasn't seen a lot of exploration success. The granite margin target that we drilled and had great success with last year has not yet been factored into the resources. And what we've learnt from that is there's potential for multiple higher grade zones within the broader Window Glass Hill granite that looks like it's mineralised across its entire length. So wherever it's outcropping and we've rock chipped the veins, we've been getting plus 1 gram rock chips up to many tens of gram rock chips. So there's potential there for anywhere in the Window Glass Hill granite to be mineralised. What success looks like for us is finding multiple centres with these higher grade, greater density of veins, and those zones reporting in that top 100, 120 metres, so they're eminently open pittable. For me, I'm fairly bullish. I'd like to see us go well north of doubling the amount of gold hosted within the Window Glass Hill granite. The step change success for us is making a new discovery along the main trend. And our focus this year is still within sort of 15 to 20 kilometres of where we see the central zone, if you like, the central resource processing facility in the scoping study. Following on from that, we're going to continue to grow our exploration pipeline by looking at things further afield. But in terms of the drilling, there's so much low-hanging fruit within 15 kilometres of central zone. We'll be busy there all year.
Ian, you hired a CEO. You've been the executive chairman. Sam Pazuki is coming over from OceanaGold. What role will he function, and how will that affect your current role?
Yeah, so we went out to do a search for a good quality CEO to come in. There were two key requirements there. The one is I didn't want a geologist. Warren and the exploration team are top notch. We didn't want somebody coming in and telling them what to do, because they're doing a great job for shareholders. The second thing is we wanted somebody on the east coast of Canada. Our corporate office is in Perth, Western Australia. It took Warren, 36 hours to get across from Perth to Newfoundland. We can't do that every 3 months. We need to have a CEO who's one flight away from the project, a CEO who's known to the North American investors, who can broaden our shareholder reach in North America, while myself and when Warren's back in Australia, can do marketing in the Australian time zone. So it's more to get more bandwidth into the company, building up the skill set that we have in Toronto. Warren last year appointed a very good in-country exploration head in Crispin Pike. He's built up a team around him. And now we want to add in a CEO in that region as well. So I'll transition to non-executive chairman, but still be very actively involved. And Sam will be the guy running the company, but based in Toronto, close to the project, and obviously working very closely with Warren and the rest of our executive leadership team. We've built up a very good team. And now we just need somebody in that time zone just to keep driving us forward.
I read Sam's bio and it said he has experience in strategy and M&A. Are you looking to acquire any new projects? Would that be part of Sam's business description?
I think it's inevitable that on the island of Newfoundland, there is going to be M&A happening. I think the catalyst for that will be once Marathon Gold have got their environmental approvals. I think one of the Canadian players will come in and look at picking up a significant ground holding on the island. So it's positioning ourselves to be reactionary to stuff like that, but also to look at where else we can look at acquiring other assets or other tenements and continuing to grow our footprint. We've got great exploration potential. If there was an operating asset that we could merge with, fantastic. We then end up with cash flow plus the greenfields and blue sky potential of what we have at Newfoundland. So I won't rule out anything, but having Sam with his experience in M&A can look at all of those options for us.
Ian, could you comment on the share price since we last spoke? I think our last interview was 2 months ago. What's your commentary on how Matador has been trading?
Yeah, share price has been soft over that period. It's effectively followed the GDXJ, which has drifted down. But we have had turnaround in the gold price sentiment in the last probably few weeks, with gold price now around 1900 US. GDX has moved up. GDXJ has been a bit slower because that money flows into the producers first. But I think it's inevitable that money will flow into the explorers. So I'm disappointed with the share price at the moment. It significantly undervalues the good work that Warren and team have been doing with exploration. It significantly undervalues what we see as the potential growth from Window Glass Hill Granite. But it's our job to get more buyers into the story, into the stock, and certainly with Sam coming on board, broadening the North American audience. Plus, I've been away for 7 months. So I'm back in Australia now and doing a lot more Australian-based marketing to broaden the story in Australia.
Have you seen any warrant exercising money come in recently?
Yeah, we've got options with a strike price of 23 Australian cents. Current share price is 30 or 31 Australian cents. So they're well in the money. They expire in July. So they've got, another 4 months, 5 months to go. And they're being exercised all the time. But what's happened is they get exercised. People pay the 23 cents, get the new share, and then sell the new share. So we have had a number of consistent selling coming in from the exercise of those options.
So that could contribute maybe a little bit to the share price weakness then.
Correct. But the flip side of that is there are great buying opportunities for people who can buy these shares when those option converters sell their shares cheaply. People who want to get exposure to the stock can pick it up quite cheaply from these sellers.
And that overhang will be gone in July is what you said then.
Exactly. Yeah. 4 more months to go. And then we passed it.
And we have 11 million in the bank, if I recall. Is that right?
Yeah, 11 million Australian dollars at the end of December. So well funded for the current program that we're doing and into the summer season as well.
Warren, could you please remind listeners of the upcoming catalysts that they should expect, let's say, over the next 45 days?
Yeah. So like I said, we've got those 35 drill holes that will be getting to report it to the market in that period or over that period, maybe a little bit further in. Also, we've got the current winter program. Like I said, we've been at that now for a few weeks, and those results will almost follow on almost directly after we finalise last year's drilling results. On top of that, like I said, we're in country at the moment running our exploration targeting workshop, and we expect to tell the market some of the good news that comes out of that as well. We've got a lot of fantastic data that's been collected over the last year or two, and having the headspace to work that up and really define and rank the targets and then tell the market about these new targets, I think will be pretty exciting for anyone who's really interested in an exploration play that's already sitting on good resources and really understands the geology of the system.
Excellent. Well, the company's website is matadormining.com.au. Don't forget the .au for North American listeners. Ticker symbol MZZMF in the States and MZZ in the Australian markets. Gentlemen, thank you for providing this update.
Thanks, Bill, and keep well.
Thanks very much, Bill.